Thank you so much for joining this lesson. We shall be looking at linear motion, relative speed to be specific. We are told in this question, paper 1, number 19, that a bus left Nairobi at 8 a.m. and traveled towards Mombasa at an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour. At 8:30 a.m., a Nissan Matatu left Mombasa and traveled towards Nairobi at an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour, following the same route. Given that the two towns are 520 kilometers apart, part A, determine how far the bus had traveled before the Nissan left Mombasa. So when you look at the instructions carefully, you discover that at 8 a.m. on the dot, a bus left Nairobi. Then later, 8:30 a.m. the same day, we have a Nissan leaving Mombasa, meaning that by the time the Nissan is about to leave Mombasa, the bus has already traveled for 30 minutes. That's half an hour. So there's something that we call distance. Distance is usually given by speed times time, because generally we say that speed is given by distance out of time. So now to work out the distance, then we have to multiply speed and time, meaning that the distance moved by the bus, the distance moved by this bus by the time the matatu is beginning its journey from Mombasa shall be 30 minutes is equivalent to half an hour. So at a speed of 120 multiplied by half an hour, the time now, we shall have a distance of 60 kilometers already covered. So you check the time interval by the time the second vehicle is beginning its journey. A very good question. Look at part B of the same. At what time of the day did the two vehicles meet? So at some point, these vehicles shall meet, because after the bus has covered 60 and the matatu is also beginning its journey, then it means there is a distance that shall be covered jointly. There is a distance to be covered jointly now. Total distance, as we said, from Nairobi to Mombasa. This is Mombasa. The total distance is 520. But now we are saying at 8:30, there is a distance now between where the bus is and where the Nissan Matatu is. So the Nissan is starting its journey, but the bus has already covered 60 kilometers from Nairobi. Meaning, if we take the total distance of 520 and we subtract 60, now by 8:30, the distance between them is 460 kilometers. So we are having 460 kilometers as the distance between these two vehicles. So this is now the distance to be covered jointly. The bus is covering 420. The Nissan Matatu is also covering the 420 to ensure that they meet at some point. So we call it the relative distance. 460, the distance between the two vehicles at a given point when they are both moving towards one another. 460 kilometers. Then after this, there is something I want us also to discover, that they are both covering the speed jointly, covering the distance jointly. Now, there is what we call approaching speed. They are approaching one another at a common speed, relative speed, which shall be given by 120. Then we add the second vehicle, which began at a speed of 100. And when we add 120 plus 100, we get 220 kilometers per hour. Let's confirm. We are having 120, the other one is starting at 100. So this common distance now between the two vehicles is being covered jointly at a speed of 220, because the bus is coming, trying to cover it. The other vehicle, the Nissan Matatu, is also covering the same for them to meet somewhere. So now we can talk about the time taken, which is now the relative time in this case. Relative time Generally, from the general formula here, time shall be given by distance over speed. So distance over speed, relative distance out of relative speed. So the distance of 420 is being covered at a common speed of 220. So let's check the time they'll need for the two to meet. So I divide 460 by 220. Now this gives me exactly 2 hours and 1 over 11. 2 and 1 out of 11 hours. If that is the time taken, can we now convert it into hours and minutes so that we be in a position now to add it to 820 so that we know the exact time they are meeting? So let's talk about 2 hours. Then when we subtract 2 from this figure, we shall remain with 1 over 11 minutes, 1 over 11 of an hour. So we multiply it by 60 to get 5 minutes. 1 hour, 5 minutes. Therefore now, from 8:30, we are adding 2 hours, 5 minutes. So this is 35. This is 10:35 a.m. the same day. So now this is the time they shall be meeting. The time they shall meet. We continue with this question. Remember, it's a 10-mark question. But let me invite you to our serious program here for all the students in senior school, that is the secondary schools, and also all the students in junior school. We shall be covering term 1 work of 2026. So we invite you, junior school and senior school, so that you may take part in our wonderful programs. Reach out through our number, which is already pinned on this poster, 0704 15 3366. Please reach out so that you may know much about our programs. We are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. So kindly welcome to our programs. Feel free to even invite a friend to our serious program. So that is the time the two vehicles shall be meeting. Let's look at part C of this question. Determine the distance between Mombasa and the meeting point of the two vehicles. We saying this, we can consider, because we need the distance between Mombasa and the meeting point, we can consider the vehicle which is moving from Mombasa. And that is the Nissan Matatu at a speed of 100. So we say that distance is given by speed times time. A speed of 100 multiplied by 2 hours and 1 over 11. Yeah, 2 hours and 1 over 11. So with this now, we can talk about when we multiply this by 100, I'm having 209.09. 209.09 kilometers. So the vehicle which is from Mombasa, for them to meet, will have covered 209.09 kilometers. Alternatively, just an alternative, we can say this, the vehicle from Nairobi. The vehicle from Nairobi, this is an alternative working. The vehicle from Nairobi at a speed of 120 will also take the same time interval to meet. So what distance will it have covered? When we multiply by 120, you discover that it shall cover 250.91 kilometers. Then we can say now the total distance from Nairobi. This is now Thibas. Can consider Thibas. Here we consider the Nissan Matatu. So now, considering Thibas at a speed of 120 for 2 hours and 1 over 11 hours, it shall cover 250 and 91. But earlier, it covered a distance of, it's from Nairobi, and earlier it covered a distance of 60, meaning that total distance from Nairobi, or we can say from Mombasa. Let's go directly to Mombasa. So from Mombasa, we shall have the total of 520 They say 520. They said a total of 520. So 520 minus the vehicle from Nairobi covered 60. And for them to meet, it's again covering 250.91. So now we can get the distance. I will take 520 minus the two values there. So I'm getting 209.09 kilometers. This is now from Mombasa. So you consider the total distance minus the distance covered by Fibas from Nairobi, so that you know how far they are from Mombasa. Look at part D. At what time did the Nissan Matatu arrive in Nairobi? The Nissan Matatu to arrive in Nairobi. Remember, it started its journey exactly at 8:30, and it's having a speed of 100 kilometers per hour, and it has to cover the total distance of 520. So the assumption that we're making for us to solve part D is assuming that this vehicle didn't have a stopover. It never stopped anywhere. Therefore, we assume that the time taken is equal to distance out of speed. So a distance of 520 and a speed of 100, this will give us 5.2 hours, which is just 5 hours. Then the 0.2 can be converted to minutes. 0.2 by 60. So that you get 12 minutes. Yeah, 12 minutes. So can we talk about now all the way from 8:30? Then we are adding 5 hours, 12 minutes. This will be 42. This shall be 13. So the time the Nissan Matatu arrived in Nairobi is 13:42 hours. That is in the 24-hour clock system, or the time can be stated as 1:42 p.m. the same day. So that is how we handle the question. Very easy to understand. Please consult more through our programs 0704 15 33 66. See you next time. Thank you.